Straight ahead in the Red Zone, Fresno State feasts on fall turnovers, leading to a rough night in the Central Valley. Head coach Tony Sanchez is in studio to talk about what went wrong, what went right, and what's next. Plus, we preview this Saturday's home game against San Diego State. And we take you inside the Mountain West Basketball Media Day to talk about where the Runnin' Rebels stand as the season is poised to start. No dogging it in the Red Zone. We're getting grimy right now.
This is the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
Good evening. Welcome inside the Red Zone. Kevin Bollinger alongside UNLV head football coach Tony Sanchez, coming off a loss in Fresno, and for as good and as clean of a game as you played at Vanderbilt, it certainly was not the case in the Valley.
No, I'll tell you what, that was a frustrating game, and there's sometimes you feel a little deflated after a loss. This one ticked you off because we went back. Obviously we've been in the office earlier and watching film today and stuff. We'll practice tonight, and for us to make some of the mistakes we did is inexcusable. I mean, we played great football the week before. We did some really good things in this game, but some of the critical errors, the 5 turnovers, the first drive of the first half only getting 3 points, and the first drive of the second half only getting 3 points, 28 points off turnovers. I mean, you lose a game by 29, 28 points were off turnovers. And late into that fourth quarter, we were right there with an opportunity to tie that game up, so extremely frustrated.
Well, let's start our look back at this one. We're going to begin with the first half where the Rebels kept themselves right in the game.
It always falls back on technique, always. You understand that? Hunt the way you did last week. You understand that? Do it again.
Friday night in the Valley as the Rebels tangled with the Bulldogs in Fresno. UNLV had the ball first and put together a drive. Kenyon Oblad, the quick hitter to Noah Bean, and he gets a block, turns upfield and goes 45 yards to the Fresno 13. But UNLV would have to settle for a 22-yard Daniel Gutierrez field goal, and it was quickly 3-0. The defense forced a 3-and-out, but on the Rebels' first play from scrimmage, Chad Magyar fumbled, and Fresno recovered at the UNLV 32. The defense held, and Cesar Silva missed a 46-yard field goal. 3 plays later on third down for UNLV. Oblad's pass bounces off Jacob Gasser and is intercepted by Lavelle Bailey. This time, Fresno cashed in. Ronnie Rivers runs it in from 7 yards out, and the Bulldogs took a 7-3 lead. UNLV's offense answered with a 13-play, 72-yard drive. Fresno native Charles Williams going right up the middle for 11 yards. Then Oblad to Darren Woods Jr. for 23 to take them to the Bulldog 19. On second and goal from the 12, Oblad finds Randall Grimes, who bobbles and holds on for the touchdown. UNLV had the lead back at 10-7. It didn't last long. Fresno's first play of the drive, the end around to Jalen Cropper. He gets free and is off to the races, 82 yards, but Rayshad Jackson would catch him and drag him down at the 1. On the next snap, Josh Hokett pounds it in for the score. Fresno was back on top, 14-10. Later in the second, Fresno drives again. Quarterback Jorge Reyna keeps it himself on the read option, and he goes 40 yards to the 11. Next play, Rivers runs it in for the touchdown, and the Bulldog lead was extended to 21-10. UNLV got right back in it. Oblad hits Bean in stride, and he is gone. 60 yards for the score. The Rebels cut it to 21-17 with 1:44 left in the second quarter. But the defense would give up a 75-yard drive in 5 plays in just 1:07. Reyna to Carrick Wheatfall for 37 yards. That would set up a touchdown run by Reyna. So instead of being down just 4 at the half, UNLV trailed by 2 scores as Fresno went into halftime with a 28-17 lead.
All right, so let's begin at the end of the half.
Yeah.
You guys get the touchdown, and then you turn around and give up a drive and a touchdown in 1:07. So instead of going down one score, now you're 2 scores and total momentum swing.
Yeah, and again, frustrating, just critical errors. I mean, you can even go back further than that. That second turnover we had a 3rd and long, 3rd and 11. We have a guy, got quarterback dead to rights, just misses the tackle in space, inexcusable. They convert that, they score on that, and then right before the half, again, we make a big play with Noah Bean, and, they did go right down the football field and score again. And again, with Reyna pulling the ball, I mean, we've got edge guys that got to take care of that, and their eyes are in the backfield, not in the right place, and it can't happen. I mean, Reyna's a good, tough player, but there's no way he should be running the ball up and down the field.
One of the positives, though, in the first half is every time Fresno scored, UNLV responded. I think they had the fight back right there in the first half.
Well, we knew it was going to be a good, hard, fought college football game, right? But again, we can talk about over and over. If it's 5 turnovers to none, and those 5 turnovers lead to 28 points and lose by 29, that's it. I mean, that's put a fork in you. And we still had opportunities with all the mistakes we made. We still had opportunities late into the game. So, this one's tough to swallow.
The overall time of possession may not show it in the first half, but their defense, your defense, was on the field a lot. There were 5 possessions that UNLV had that totaled only 4 minutes and 3 seconds. It seemed like just quick breathers back on it, and you're never going to win games that way.
No, well, again, turnovers create, you're on the football field when you're turning the ball over. So, I mean, you have a first down fumble, right? So, again, that possession's 20 seconds? Not even that, 10 seconds. And then, the second one right there, bounces off Gasser's hands. We got to go ahead and catch that ball. And they were darn near red zone turnovers, which was a tough deal. And they also put the ball on the ground one time, and instead of just jumping on it, we tried to scoop and score it, and they ended up recovering it. So they tried to give us some turnovers back. So, again, we know the key to us winning, we got to be right around that 50 carry mark. I saw a stat before the game, we're 7-3, when we carry the ball 50 times or more. Obviously, I think we had it 40 times, and those extra 10 are probably a huge difference because you got to have the lead, or you've got to be in a more manageable situation. You can't always be behind the 8 ball where you're trying to throw yourself back into it.
Magyar didn't come back in the first half for a while after that fumble. Was that a message being sent, or was there something else up?
It was a medical deal. So he came to the sideline afterwards, said he had a migraine and had some blurry vision. So he was with the medical staff. So he wasn't allowed to play for the first half until that migraine calmed down. And once it did, he went back in there. And we sure could have used him in the first half.
All right, let's go to the second half right now, where it seemed that everything could go wrong, did go wrong.
The second half started promising for the Rebels. The defense forced a 3 and out, and the offense started moving the ball. Oblad scrambles and finds Grimes to get the ball into Fresno territory. Then Magyar goes right up the middle for 13 yards. And Oblad connects with Steve Jenkins for 19 more down to the 10. But UNLV would have to settle for a 22-yard Gutierrez field goal, and they had cut the Fresno lead to 28-20. The Bulldogs drove right down the field, but on 3rd and goal at the 3, Evan Ostry knocks down Reyna's pass, and Silva would miss a 20-yard field goal. UNLV had the ball down just 1 score, and that's when things fell apart. On the first play of the offensive drive, Williams fumbles. It's scooped up by Justin Rice, and he returns it 18 yards for the touchdown. That would make it 35-20. UNLV tried to put together a drive. On 4th and 5, Oblad keeps it himself, and he moves the chains. Then on 4th and 15 at the Fresno 33, Oblad goes for Tylee Collins in the end zone. The pass is incomplete. The officials don't throw the flag for interference. Fresno would get the ball back, and they went for the big play and got it right away. Reyna deep downfield to Darian Grimm, 53 yards to put the Bulldogs in the red zone. Then Reyna hits Jared Rice over the middle for the touchdown to push it to 42-20. On the Rebels' second snap of their possession, Oblad hit as he throws. The ball pops up, and it's picked off by Aaron Mosby. He takes it all the way back to the UNLV 1. Hokett puts it into the end zone on the next play, 49-20. Second play of the next UNLV possession. Oblad overthrows his receiver and is intercepted by Juju Hughes. That set up another Hokett touchdown, 28 unanswered points in less than 9 minutes, and all of a sudden it was 56-20. UNLV would get a late touchdown as Oblad and Grimes connected once again for 6, but the damage was done. 5 turnovers, leading to 28 Fresno points. It was just too much to overcome as the Rebels lose in frustrating fashion, 56-27.
It happened really fast. It was a couple plays that we had turnovers on, like the first plays of the drives that shouldn't have happened. So it happened really fast. And you're just looking there with like, what just happened? Because, we were in the game at one point, and then out of nowhere, it was 20 points.
It was really frustrating, because we had high hopes for the rest of our season, starting with this game. But we still got high hopes for the rest of our season. We start off next week with San Diego State. We just got to come in with the right mindset. Things happen, but we got to keep pushing.
Well, the turning point of the game, you have the ball, down 8. The Charles Williams fumble leads to the scoop and story. Kind of just went downhill from there.
Yeah, critical mistake. Again, they drive the field. Well, first of all, we start the second half off great. We get the 3 and out, we get the 3 points on the board to make it an 8-point game. But then you get in that situation right there, and the crazy thing is, you watch the film right there, and there's nobody between Chuck and the other goal line other than a safety, and he's got Gio Fiolo out there blocking for him. But we put that ball on the ground. All of a sudden now, they score, and then again, after that, you still got an opportunity. It's still a 2-score game, so it's not out of question. We go ahead on that. They give us a gift on 4th down. We got an open, tight leak, and yeah, maybe it could have been a PI or not, but the bottom line is he throws it into the field. We can run under it and you get a touchdown, and then they turn around the next snap, go vertical, and beat us over the top and score off that. So that was a big swing real fast.
When you have 5 turnovers, they give up 28 points, and you've talked about it a little bit before, but that 9-minute stretch where they scored 4 touchdowns unanswered, did some of the players out there, especially the young ones, lose their composure a little bit, or was it just a matter of guys not executing what they needed to do?
Well, I think it got tough on the quarterback spot real quick. You have Chuck with the fumble, right, the scoop and score, and then we get the deal on we get to deal with the pick that goes down to the 1-yard line, and obviously we're a little rattled there because the next pick is just an airmail ball. So our guys, they do a great job of not pointing fingers. They do a great job of playing hard. Just like at the end of the game, they finished playing hard, but it got ugly really fast in a game that was really competitive for most of the night. So you're in the 4th quarter with an opportunity, down 2 scores, win the game, and you're driving with the football, and then but it just shows if you don't keep your composure and you don't execute at a high level, you can get ugly really fast, and we can't afford to do that. So again, our season's getting shorter and shorter. That was a very, very winnable game. I think everyone who watched it understood that. So we're going to have to grow up from this, and we're going to have to do a great job of calling ourselves out as coaches, calling some of the players out for individual performances, and we'll do that here tonight, and then we'll get ourselves back rolling.
When we talked Kenyon Oblad in the takeaway, he did have the 3 picks. Arguably, 2 of them necessarily weren't his fault. One bounced off a receiver, one he was hit as he threw. But we talked with him after the Vanderbilt game about the game slowing down the more he gets in there. And he even talked about things got really fast in there. As a young quarterback, are there teachable learning moments that is going to help him grow out of a game like that?
There's no doubt. He's still a really young kid, and I know he said it after the game, but he's a young kid. He's grown. He did some really good things. But, again, you go back to the end of the first half, and there's 19 seconds on the clock, and we have a third down situation with timeouts in our pocket, and we run a really nice route, and he feels the pressure, and he just rushes this throw and misses a wide open Randall Grimes, right? And he's right around the 27-yard line. So you call a timeout, you kick the field goal. You saw a couple of those things happen throughout the course of the game. So he'll get better at it. The biggest thing is he's got to watch this film. And you know what? He'll see it all himself, some of the critical errors and the mistakes and some of the open receivers that we need to hit. And so it's our job to do a great job of coaching him up and settling him down so he can execute that.
Win or lose, it is always on to the next one. That's exactly what we're doing. Up next, a preview of this Saturday's game against San Diego State as the Rebels return home. What's it going to take to beat the Aztecs? That's next as the Red Zone rolls on.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
UNLV is back home for only the 2nd time in 6 weeks as they square off with San Diego State on Saturday night.
San Diego State comes into this game as a team that hasn't put everything together yet, but is finding ways to squeak out wins. That's Rocky Long football. Run the football and make big defensive plays to grind out games. The man that he trusts with the rock is running back Juwan Washington, the latest in a long line of running backs that can not only pound it inside, it has the ability to break big plays.
It's exciting just to know that he's trusting you with the role to have the ball in your hands that many times. And, if he's trusting you that many times, you got to go out there and, make some plays to help the team win. And we got a lot of guys that can do that. So if it's you or somebody else that's going in there, and you just got to be ready when your time is called and make the opportunity the best of it.
Last year in San Diego, the underdog Rebels went on the road and pulled off the biggest win of the season, winning the game in the fourth quarter to propel UNLV to a big back half of the season. But Long says that game will not be a factor when they meet at Sam Boyd Stadium on Saturday night.
Other than we have great respect for UNLV and Coach Sanchez does a great job, we don't do much. When we get to spring practice, we stop talking about last year. And we move forward, start talking about the new year and what's going to happen this year and try to get better so we're a better football team for the upcoming season. But I thought they played well, and they made a big play near the end of the game that won it for them, and that was a well-deserved win for them.
This is a critical game for both teams, but for UNLV, it's a game that could determine their postseason fortunes. Expect a good old-fashioned smash-mouth football game that will be won in the fourth quarter.
All right, it's Rocky Long at San Diego State. You know what they're going to do. It's just a matter of executing, stopping it.
No doubt about it. They're going to get downhill. Again, I talked about us, how many games we won when we carried the ball 50 times. They're the exact same way. I think they had 50 this last week. They're always going to play great defense, and and then they're going to really rely heavily on that run game. You can't fall asleep because they will take shots over the top. So it's going to be a good football game. It's a winnable game, but we're going to have to execute at a high level.
They do have a tendency to maybe lull defenses to sleep a little bit. I think that's where teams get caught on the San Diego State
No
squad.
doubt about it. You got to really watch your tight ends. I mean, they do a really good job. Bellinger's a local kid. It does a really good job for him. Big, long target. And, Agnew's been around for a while. So, we know what they're going to do. We know what that game plan is going to be. I'm sure there'll be some copycat stuff. There always is. This holdover from the last couple of weeks. We got to do a really good job watching the reverse and then the fly sweeps, right? Because we've given up some stuff on the edges. So we take care of that stuff and play stout run defense inside the tackles like we have been. I think we have a good shot. But then we got to be able to put it together offensively. No turnovers, or at least be really low there. And we got to create some on defense.
Well, up next, we're going to switch gears and talk a little bit of hoops. The Mountain West had their media day this past week. What's the buzz about UNLV? Is Utah State comfortable being the hunted team? And what does Steve Alford have to say about his new team and home in Reno? Find out in just 2 minutes.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by RC Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
The college basketball season is fast approaching, and the Mountain West is a conference that has a lot of teams with question marks.
Coaches and players from around the Mountain West gathered and one by one laid out why their team has hope to take down the rest of the conference. TJ Otzelberger was a popular interview with media members from other cities trying to get a feel for where UNLV is as a program with all of the new faces. Otzelberger said that he enjoyed laying the groundwork for the identity of the program with public perception.
I think anytime I have the opportunity to go out and spread the word about how things are going in our program, people will listen because there's been a rich history at this program. Many coaches, players, fans, community members that have helped make UNLV basketball great over the years. And I think there's many that are excited to see how that story unfolds.
In the preseason media poll, UNLV was picked to finish 7th. A lot of that based on recent history and the unknown factor of so many new players in the program. But the Rebels say they are seeing progress.
I think on a daily basis we're learning more about this group. We're starting to get to that point where you identify roles and outline what you need specific players to do for the team to be successful. At this point, it is getting to that time where you'd like to play somebody else. Players start to know each other's tendencies, what they do well, and having that opportunity to play a fresh, new opponent is something that's exciting.
I definitely think we came a long way, being that we had new guys, new coaches. I think we continuously, day in and day out, we continuously build that chemistry, continuously invested in each other, continuously sacrifice. And, we wake up each and every day with that pedigree of wanting to bring success to this program.
Utah State was picked to win the Mountain West, coming off of last year's championship and the fact that they have most of their players returning, including preseason player of the year, Sam Merrill.
We know obviously the target's on our back this year, but I think we have a very experienced group, a group of guys that know how to play the game and know how to handle tough situations. So as long as we keep working, we'll be ready for it.
And then there's Reno. Gone are the Martin twins, Jordan Caroline and head coach Eric Musselman. But enter Steve Alford, a coach UNLV fans have a history of disliking from his playing days at Indiana and when he led New Mexico. That'll add to the North-South rivalry. Alford says, though, that the Wolfpack will be a work in progress.
I like the pieces that we were able to put together, and I like how recruiting's going to date, but it's really only been from July on, so it's really only been about 3 months that we've kind of known our needs for this year and then our needs moving forward, but the pieces are getting put together. I like the guys we have, we just don't have a lot of experience.
The Mountain West part of the schedule actually begins in early December this year and then picks back up later on. The Runnin' Rebels will play their first exhibition game Friday night at the Thomas & Mack.
One final break for us. We're back with the UNLV football plays of the week, but here's a look at how other Mountain West teams did over the weekend.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
All right, Coach, good luck this week. 7:30 kickoff at Sam Boyd Stadium for San Diego State. We hope to see you out there, and we hope to see you here for the Red Zone next Sunday. Thanks for joining us for this one. We leave you tonight with the UNLV football plays of the week. Good night.
The RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.